difficulties, we're here. So hopefully everybody makes it over to this side. Are we on? Am I live? All right, welcome everybody. The very first live stream of Semper Fi My Friends, Sfmf. Hopefully you all made it. Hopefully some more will come on board, but here we have it. So this is a wet down. This is what we called it, and we put the thumbnail was who wants to go to a wet down. And what I've come to realize is not everybody knows what a wet down or a wetting down is. And history has it, it was Navy, Marine Corps, officers, even some firefighters, where the pilots, they use it to actually wet them down on their last mission when they decommissioned a ship or an aircraft. Marine tradition, enlisted Marines, what I've learned over the years is when you get promoted, the wetting down comes from you purchase everybody that comes to your wet down a beer. You put it on the bar. You purchase in the difference between your pay when you get promoted. So the pay raise, you put it on the bar. Everybody buys you buy everyone beer. The wetting down part is your actual promotion warrant. Obviously, make a copy. Don't do your original. But then everybody, as you're drinking, you pour beer all over the promotion warrant. So it's a celebration, in other words, and Marines are extreme, we know that, fanatical, and we take everything to the limit. So this is our first wetting down. We hit 5K with your support. Couldn't have done it without you. Appreciate everyone so much and all the value that you brought to the community that we're trying to create. And it's being created by you. So with that, I do want to answer some of the comments, some common questions of the shorts that we've been making, some of the videos, tons of comments, and we want to address them right here and right now, live. So as you're thinking of your questions, pop them up. I do have some giveaways by the end of the night. We want to give away, you guessed it, Semper Fi My Friends shirts. Got 2 of them I want to give away. First one's going to be we have some, excuse me. A lot of you come in and out all the time. It's great. Love the comments. I try to keep up with as many as I can. Apologize if I don't get to it, but trust me, I love every one of them. It motivates me to see them. A lot of guys, Randy Hodder, Chesty Puller, Roving Ronan, The Chicken, Bob Nero, IROC Z, Scotty C, Frank Castle, Fouled Anchor, SoCal Jarhead. So many of you are killing it. And I love it. I appreciate it. Keep them coming. Some very good questions from some very good comments and information that I didn't know either. And this isn't for me. It's for all of us. So keep them coming. All right, I see them already. E. Woods. Can retired Air Force staff NCOs get in here? One team, brother. Absolutely. We'd love to have you. Welcome aboard and continue. Join in. Let's hear some Air Force stuff. We won't make fun of you too much. I promise. A little bit, though. That's what it's all about. Raghav Chala, and I apologize if I pronounce any of these wrong. And some of you have some very interesting and creative names. Love it. I'm doing great, Chala. How about you, brother? Welcome. Welcome, definitely. Again, later on in the show, we're going to pick of our most of the comments. We're going to put them all in a hat and pick one out. That'll be our first free giveaway of the t-shirt. The second one is I'm going to hit some Marine Corps history. We'll see where your knowledge is at on that. Scotty Cruvels, hoorah, Sergeant Major. Hey, brother, how are you? Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. One of the biggest questions, our biggest short that has the most comments, some controversial, some doubtful, some just a lot of input, was in the Marine Corps. Now, if you're not a Marine, it's very confusing. The 2 E8s and the 2 E9s. Why is that and how does it work? And through the comments, I've learned a lot also about the other services. And it's not too different, actually. The only difference is our rank insignia is different and they go by different names. So We'll go with the E8s first. The Master Sergeant and the First Sergeant. Why two E8s is always the question, and what are the responsibilities for those two? So the way I've explained it in the short is the First Sergeant is the senior enlisted advisor to the commander, and that's true. Here's the background on the First Sergeant. He could have any MOS prior to being a First Sergeant. It doesn't matter. So now, though, he's a First Sergeant, and he can go to any unit because he's not the technical expert of that field. For instance, my first duty station as a First Sergeant was a motor T maintenance company. I'm not motor T. I didn't know much about motor T maintenance, but it didn't matter because my job as the First Sergeant was the senior enlisted advisor to the commander on all things Marine related. Pay, liberty, family, morale, welfare, discipline, all those things relating to the unit itself, the command climate. So that's the First Sergeant. The Master Sergeant in that unit, which I had 5 of them, I even had a Master Gunnery Sergeant in that unit. But the Master Sergeants were in charge of each individual shop within that unit. So they are the technical expert of their MOS. So I had one was just on engines. He was the engines Staff NCO IC, the Master Sergeant. Again, both the 8s, both pay, the pay grade is the same, exact same, but by billet, the First Sergeant is senior to the Master Sergeant. Okay, now, how do you get to First Sergeant or Master Sergeant? That's another question that always comes up. Do you get to choose? Yes and no. Absolutely. You can choose all day long. And you do it when you're a gunnery sergeant, and it's on your fitness report is what it's called. You put one section on there, you put an M for Master Sergeant or an F for First Sergeant. That's your decision. However, when you become eligible for promotion, you meet all the requirements, someone else is going to decide that. What's best for the Marine Corps, the needs of the Marine Corps. What's best for the Marine Corps and what's best for you, hopefully, is how they choose it. So they'll look at your whole record from the day you stepped on the yellow footprints until that day of the board. They're going to go over everything in your record, and they're going to brief it to a panel of senior enlisted Marines, sergeants, majors, and Master Gunnery Sergeants, and a colonel is a senior member. He has an overall say. So when your briefer is what is called, the Marine briefing your package has to be perfect because they're going to read everything, all your accomplishments. Derogatory stuff too. If you have any bad paperwork in there, they have to brief it all. Here's the thing, they got to do it in 3 minutes. So point is, make sure your record is 100% accurate and you've done things throughout your career to help you get promoted. So after all that's said and done, at the very end, they vote. Master Sergeant or First Sergeant, or if you should even be promoted at all. That's how you get selected to First Sergeant or Master Sergeant. So can you choose? Yes, you can, but the Marine Corps will decide for you. All right, and I'm being reminded by MDH right here, those boards are no joke. They are intense. They're classified, they can't talk about it, nothing goes outside the board. It's all about integrity and choosing the right Marines for the right jobs. That's what it's all about. So it's intense. Let's see, so that's E8. That's the E8 process. So then you branched out to the 89, 99 world, or you stayed in your MOS as a Master Sergeant and the next step. So once you're First Sergeant, your next step is Sergeant Major. Back in the day, way before my time, you used to be able to convert from a First Sergeant to a Master Sergeant or a Sergeant Major to a Master Gunnery Sergeant. I hadn't seen that. I haven't heard of anybody doing that recently in my time, but I think it was at one day. So, you guys reading those? Do not eat the cat. That's what I'm explaining right now. Can you choose between First Sergeant and Master Guns? So once you get the 89-99 route, that's First Sergeant and Sergeant Major, that's your route. So now as a First Sergeant, Your goal is to continue doing well, doing the things that you did to get to where you are as a first sergeant, to get promoted to a sergeant major. The master sergeant, the same thing. He's working hard to get promoted to the next rank of E9, which is master gunnery sergeant. We'll talk about the bursting bomb here in a minute. So those are the two routes. Why the two routes? That's just it. The senior enlisted advisor to the commander and the technical expert. Other branches have the same thing. The Army, I think, is very, very similar. The difference is one is the command sergeant major. He's the senior enlisted advisor to the commander. And the other one is a sergeant major. And he continues to advise on all things related to the unit and that specific MOS. So similar, just called, they're both called sergeant major. One's a command sergeant major, one is a sergeant major. The Navy, I think, is the same as well. They have the CMC, the command master chief, senior enlisted advisor to the commander. Any other master chiefs are master chief petty officers, probably in that specific job or MOS or rating. Air Force, again, I don't know as much about the Air Force, but I'm sure it's set up very similar. Let's see what else. Space Force, again, I'm sure it's set up. It's a very tried and true system, if you ask me. I think it works beautifully. I mean, it has for all these years. So, any advice for going warrant? Rarely see any in the Marine Corps. Very good. Don't eat the cat. So, very good question. And throughout my career, it has come up quite a bit. Why don't you become a warrant officer? So everyone's story is different. Absolutely different. So I think it would have to be what your goals are for your service. They are warrant officers are in the Marine Corps. We have plenty of them. Here's the thing with the warrant officer: you leave the enlisted community, you're limited on what you can do. So if you go the 89-99 route of first sergeant and master sergeant, again, you can go to any MOS throughout the Marine Corps. To me, it's a freedom thing. I didn't want to stay in my MOS. If you love your MOS and you're absolutely 100% dedicated to it and you're good at it, that would be a reason to go warrant officer. It is increased pay. You are now a warrant officer. You get your warrant from the Commandant of the Marine Corps. Commissioned officers get commissioned by the President of the United States. So that's a difference between warrant officers and commissioned officers. But you can go as high as Chief Warrant Officer 5, which there are some in the Marine Corps. I mean, there's plenty in that particular MOS. I'm going to get back to Chief Warrant Officers in a minute. Let me answer MDH again. The Chief Master Sergeant or Chief Sergeant Major is Army. 3 up, 3 down, and something along with the star in the middle, like a wreath or fern-looking thing. It is a wreath, and Sergeant Major chevron for the Army is different. 3 chevrons, 3 rockers, star in the middle. For the Command Sergeant Major, they have a wreath around the star. The other sergeants major have just a star. The Marine Corps Sergeant Major chevron is different. We have 3 stripes, 3 chevrons, and 4 rockers underneath. It is different. Hey, the chicken, good to see you, brother. Hurrah. So back to the Chief Warrant Officers. The one that comes up as well, and we haven't done a short on yet, is the gunner. The gunner is the weapons expert of a unit. Very hard to get, and I think the last time I looked, there was about 100 in the Marine Corps. An actual gunner, a warrant officer, prior enlisted, served as a 0369 as Staff NCO infantryman, put in for the gunner program, very tough selection, made it, and now is a warrant officer. Excuse me. So they wear warrant officer rank insignia on one side, chief warrant officer, and the bursting bomb on the left side. Bursting bomb. Here's where the fun comes in. Looks like a pineapple. A lot of you believe that it is. I wouldn't ask a gunner or a master gunnery sergeant, why do you have a pineapple on your uniform? But it does look like one. Remind me to get back to that question. Is it possible to get Lance Corporal out of boot camp? I got a funny story on that one. So the bursting bomb. It is in fact a bursting bomb. Look at it close. Looks like a hand grenade, if you will, that's actually blowing up. So it's a bursting bomb. Funny story with that is I was in boot camp, I remembered learning it as a pineapple because they just wanted you to remember the difference between a master gunnery sergeant and a sergeant major. One had a star, one had a pineapple. That was a quick reference. Problem is, it stuck with me. I went up for a meritorious corporal board, and one of the questions from a master gunnery sergeant was, describe to me the master gunnery sergeant chevron. I was like, easy. 3 chevrons, 4 rockers, pineapple in the middle. He lost his mind. That's the day I learned that it's not a pineapple. Looks like one. And as a sergeant major, maybe I can say it now, but it is not a pineapple. It's a bursting bomb. Same with the Marine gunner. On their left collar, again, they wear the bursting bomb on one side and whatever cheap warrant officer rank they are on the other side. That's the Marine gunner, and that's the master gunner sergeant. The question about MDH, there you go, you're going to get me in trouble. Sergeant Major Gray used to call Master Gunnery Sergeant Wilbur Pineapple Man. It's pretty funny. Maybe they had it out at one point. So the chicken has arisen, just answered the question about, yes, OG, the company honor Marine will get promoted to Lance Corporal. There's been some inconsistencies in that over the years, but that is true. So you can leave as the one Marine will graduate as the company honor man. Each platoon in boot camp has a platoon honor man. So normally 3 and 3, they compete, the 3 each, compete to see which one's a series honor man. So 1 honor man per series, and then those 2 compete to see which will be designated as the company honor man. If that recruit, newly appointed Marine, is already a PFC, he'll get promoted one more time to Lance Corporal. So is it possible? Yes. During the time when one of my daughters was in boot camp and graduated as the company honor man, for some reason, Paris Island wasn't doing it at that time. So she had to play catch up. So it does happen. You can leave boot camp a Lance Corporal. So just know, those of you who do get that, or those that have, maybe you can chime in, and you got to know that you still know about as much as that private that just graduated boot camp also. So know your role. Don't get ahead of yourself on that. But it is possible. JROTC, those of you high school students, do 2 consecutive years of, not consecutive, 2 successful years of JROTC, and you can go to boot camp as an E2, a private first class. All right, Randy says, is it possible to go from reserve to active duty? Another great question, and absolutely it is. It takes some time, and what I tell people when they're doing anything with any kind of out of the ordinary procedure, you got to be patient. You have to be very aggressive, but also be patient. But yes, Randa, Chala, that happens all the time. Reserve to active duty to reserves. Chicken says, went to SOI in the fleet with my company honor Marine. He picked up corporal before our first float. Very good. So he was obviously kicking butt and taking names to be the company honor man. It's usually about one of about 500 or less Marines. So that company honor man is truly, he's got it going on. Nelson, good to see you, brother. Saw you earlier. Long time since Karma. Yes, that was some good times. Old Karma, never forget that place. Or the smell, or the food. Food was pretty good. What are you doing now, Nelson? Give us a little brief of what you're doing. Adam Kelly says, can Marines have family members in the same unit? Another great question, and yes, absolutely, absolutely can. Now, depending on the rank, if they're both the same rank or one is senior to the other, they won't be in the same platoon, which probably may has happened in the past. You never know. Family members like siblings, that happens. Now, if it's family members as in a married couple, then again, obviously, one wouldn't be in charge of the other one. They would move one of you to a different unit. But I had twin brothers in one of my deployments, same unit. They were in two different platoons, but the same company. Cleo says, spouse doing ERD, can they help pay for me and kids go to duty station afterward or help pay part of late arrival to the next? ERD, early return of dependent. Spouse doing ERD, can they help pay for me and the kids to go station afterward? That's a administrative question. If you're doing an early return of dependents, can they help pay the kids to go to duty station after? I want to say yes. Don't quote me on that, but here's what you can quote me on. Everything is waiverable. So don't take no for an answer, right? If you do the homework, do your part and do the homework and find out exactly what you need to do, I would say yes, absolutely, it's possible. Nelson, now you're working as a safety guy for a company and a side hustle as a deputy sheriff. Uh-oh. Nice to see you, man. Thanks, brother. I might need to give you a call sometime on the deputy sheriff side. Are you available by way of travel or finance office? I'm guessing. Finance, you talk to the finance officer. The travel part, I don't think there's a possibility of doing it. Chicken, paperwork question. DD 214 does not list two schools that I graduated from, CCRC and Coronado and Mountain Survival School in Bridgeport. Any advice on correcting this? Yes, the Naval Board of Corrections. Go online. You have to have proof of those two schools, or if you don't have proof, just contact some Marines that were there with you and have them write a letter. Hey, I remember him. The chicken was risen. He has risen. He was there during this time. I was his bunkmate. I was his squad leader. I know him. He was my platoon sergeant. Whatever the case is, have them write official letters, and you submit that to the Board of Naval Corrections as well. MDH, rumor was you couldn't be a sergeant major if you went to contract PFC because the sergeant major's promotion warrant read something along the lines of having held every rank from private to sergeant major. Not true, MDH. Never heard of anything like that whatsoever. I went in contract PFC, became a sergeant major. I recruited two people as a poolee. That's how I got my contract PFC. So, not true. And I hadn't heard that. It's pretty interesting. Cleo, have you met Staff Sergeant Wells, Gunny now? Granados, DI. Very terrible with names and faces, so I'd have to ask my wife on that one. She would let me know if I know. How often do you go live? This is our first one, Cleo. Thanks for joining us. Depending on how this goes, please let me know what you think after this. If this is a success, I'd love to do it as often as possible, once a week if we could. Not sure. This is new to all of us and my production team, so we're seeing how it goes. I'm having a good time. I hope you are too. Are we ready to give out a t-shirt? Anything I can do to help you, chicken? Yes, Cleo wants more, so we're doing more lives. Don't eat the cat. Can you have a side job in the military? Sometimes I just want to work in a coffee shop. Yes, you absolutely can, as long as it doesn't affect your job as a Marine. So there are jobs out there that are, I don't want to say 9 to 5, but more like 6 to 5. And in your off-duty time, if you have time and it doesn't affect your job as a Marine, absolutely. I had one when I was a young sergeant. And I would never stop a Marine from working. MDH, thank you, brother. This is absolutely awesome. Sergeant Major would do it every time you could. Thank you. And I think we will. The chicken will be coming back. Thank you. Chala, we'd love to join you anytime. And you go, okay, all right. Well, it's good positive feedback already. More live streams too. All right. T-shirts. So again, what we did is we put all names of about 25 of you. A lot of comments. We're going to mix it up. They're doing that. My production team is doing that now. They're going to mix it up and choose one. And you just won yourself a Sfmf t-shirt. Let me read these real quick. Would love to hear some. How we dealt with continuous relationships from higher. That one just went away. What's your best advice? This is from Bob Darnell. Have for leadership. Got medically disqualified from OCS last year and was a bit of a spaz when it came to working under stress. Plan on going back next January. Wow, those are going really fast. How do I get back to that one? So 2 of them. Leadership, advice. I like to believe that's what I've learned over the past few decades dealing with different types of leaders. I think I've been very fortunate and haven't had too many of those bad leaders that I couldn't get away from. But here's the thing. One of you is moving soon. Our duty stations are every 3 years, which funny we should mention because they're going to allow homesteading. I'm not sure the order. I haven't read the white letter, anything on it, but they are going to allow homesteading more for continuity of units. So, but when I was active, again, one of you was moving. If you had a bad leader you came across, you're either PCSing or he's PCSing sometime soon. So you got to do your best to work together until then. But I have been very fortunate. I do believe throughout my career, a couple, I don't want to say bad leaders, just we didn't click right away. So it came a lot of maturity on both of our parts to work together. What I used to tell the commanders is we can disagree in a room, in our office, your office or my office. We can go to blows if we have to. Never came to that. But once we stepped out that hatch, we're on the same music, same sheet of music. He's the commander. I supported him 100%. Doesn't matter whose plan it was. But before we step out and get in front of the men and women, we were on the same page. So it worked out well. And I think still today in the civilian community, I think that's a good leadership tool that you have to use. The commander is the commander. As much as I wanted to be the commander at times, he was in charge. So we would come to a compromise that we were both happy with, and nobody knew the difference. As far as they knew, I used to ask my Marines, do you think I get along with Colonel so-and-so? Yeah, Sergeant, you guys are the best of friends. Didn't matter. That's the perception, which love it, because that's what we wanted them to think. That's how we ran our unit. Cleo, homesteading CONUS or OCONUS? Good question, Cleo. Again, I haven't read up on it yet, but I just heard that recently that they are going to allow OCONUS for a couple of different reasons, and one of them is continuity of a unit, and 2, I think it saves the military a lot of money. I was a big family of 7, moving me overseas, 3 years later, moving me back, that costs a lot of money. So I think it's a good decision that they're making. I support it 100%, and why not leave a family, especially when you get a little older. Your kids are now in high school. What high school kid wants to leave sophomore year, junior year, and start fresh at a completely different geographic location? Excuse me. All right, our first winner of our Sfmf t-shirt is, drum roll please. Can I get a drum roll from somebody? That's not a drum roll. Here it is, and all we need from you is your email address via a direct message, Twitter, Instagram, somehow, some way. Get us your email address so we can get your home address so we can send you your brand new, one of a kind Sfmf t-shirt. The winner is E. Woods. Congratulations, brother. Appreciate it. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for being part of the community. We want to keep it up. E. Woods. Let's see, a couple more. Chala. Hope I'm saying your name right. What are your thoughts on doing reactions to, dang it, it just disappeared. Oops, didn't hear that part. Sorry, made too many crayons overlooked today. Thanks, Khalil. I'm getting hungry. I got to eat some crayons here to keep me going. Nelson Warren. Warren Goldman. I need some of those t-shirts, Sergeant Major. Goldman. That's a story for another live. Goldman. I think he was the longest recruit in recruit training. Somehow, some way, I got stuck with him. But we did a cycle together because he was pretty much one of the drill instructors. He had been down there so long, and we did it. Nice work, Goldman. I'd like to hear what you're up to lately as well. The chicken, olive drab, nice, of course. You know that's my favorite color. Thank you, MDH. Says congrats. Ghost Man. Hopefully those come in big boy size. What size are you, Ghost Man? I wear 1X, but we got a couple X's in here. Khalil would like an olive drab. I'll trade you the crayons. Green crayons, of course, are my favorite, just FYI. Goldman, great grand old man of MRP. Yes, you spent some time at MRP, saw DIs goes into MRP for 6 months, and then back to their platoon. I think you saw it all and even wrote a couple SOPs while you're down there. Cleo, you're not 6 X's. Chala, the question was, what are your thoughts on reacting to military boot camp videos and giving your thoughts and perspective? Very good. And my editor has been on me about doing those. I'm ready. I'm excited. Again, once we work out the kinks and the bugs, this again is our first live, so it took us a little bit to get started. But Chala, definitely, we are absolutely doing that. I'm looking forward to it. Crayons, 0311 size. All right, Ghost Man, we got you. 0311, infantry, you made it. All right. We definitely have your size. All right, remember the second shirt that we're going to give away is going to be a knowledge question. Knowledge-based question, or could be anything, maybe about the channel. If you've been watching, you should know. All right, Village Idiot. Picked a B4 at 23 months, frozen MOS, and it just disappeared. Nelson, how about some wisdom on how you dealt with negative stuff will inevitably occur? There is a lot of negative. The first 4 years mostly are pretty negative. You're bottom of the totem pole, you're doing the working parties, the police calls, picking up cigarette butts, you're doing the jobs that you don't really want to do. How do you deal with that? You got to find your inner discipline of motivation. Motivation equals discipline, discipline equals motivation, but it's got to be within yourself. Is false moto good? I think it is. As long as you have moto, you got to find a way. Chicken says Goldman had to re-enlist before he left MCRD. Goldman was Lance Corporal. Can you get Lance Corporal out of boot camp? Goldman did. Goldman, he got it from time and grade, time and service. Your thoughts on WMs being with Marines during boot? First of all, Ghost Man, this is another post I'm going to do. WMs is not said anymore. They're Marines. They're female Marines. So my thoughts on being with Marines during boot camp. It is integrated now. We are on MCRD recently, and they do have a company of female Marines. I think the best Marines for the job, and as long as they're doing their job, training the future of the Marine Corps, so be it. MDH 6'5", and that one just appeared. I think you said 245. That's nothing. I'm right behind you. I'm just not 6'5". But you are tall, very tall. Like Slender Man tall, I think we can get you in a shirt. I was a Lance Corporal, time of grade, time of service, boot camp. True story. That's right, Goldman. So yes, you can. That's another way to leave boot camp at Lance Corporal. Stay down there for 12 months. I don't recommend it though. I work for crayons too, Cleo. You passed, and that's all that matters, Devil. Yes, amen. Amen. Goldman made it. He was a pain in the butt. The other DIs didn't like it so much when I had him sit at my desk and help me with some forms. Yeah, I agree, Chicken. He says a lot of guys might not have stuck it out. Goldman definitely was dedicated. That's tough, man. That's really tough. I'm proud of you. The illegitimate crayons are management tools. Yes, they are. Goldman says, after 8 months, I thought I was John Wayne. Are you John Wayne? Ronald Rams, I won't say the last word. MCS Cherry Point, checking in again. Good to see you, brother. Cherry Point, another duty station I had. I've been to Cherry Point, never stationed there. Eddie Garcia, what's up, brother? Good to see you again. Still over in Capole. I'm all over, Eddie. Try and find me. Ghostman, your thoughts on new leadership coming in? Very good question, Ghostman. I don't know either one of them, the new commandant or the new sergeant major of the Marine Corps, so I'm interested to see. High hopes for all of them. They're in a position now that I think as young Marines, especially as sergeant major, if I'm ever sergeant major, I'm going to do this. I hope he's one of those guys, and I hope he's successful at it because I know he's got some good ideas how to make the Marine Corps better. Scotty's back. Cravels. Instead of dreams of being a PI back in '87, anyone else have DIs screaming at you? I think my DIs might have screamed at me a little bit. Then you know CP is SM. What does Sfmf stand for? Semper Fi MFs. That's right. Cleo's husband was a DI. You probably know him. It's a small corps, small world. I probably do. It is a small corps, and we do know each other. The drill field is even smaller. Frank Hernandez says he knows General Smith, and he is awesome. Good to hear, brother. Again, I don't know him, never worked in any of his units, and I hope he is. Again, we all have high hopes watching from the sidelines. Chicken says, Crandall and Copenhagen were all the Dan Daly had when he fought 19 Chinese divisions single-handedly in the Boxer Rebellion. Ever. Nelson, what was the worst part of dealing with corpsmen? Asking as a former corpsman for those who don't know. I tell you what, love corpsmen. Devil docs, 100%. Are there some that are a little bit lazy and don't want to be on the green side? Yes. So those were the tough ones to deal with because the rest were motivated as hell. And I had, as a first sergeant and sergeant major, I had more come to me asking me, how can I stay in this unit? I don't want to go back to the blue side. Awesome, amazing, and we love our Navy corpsmen, without a doubt. Alan Garrison says General Eric Smith is acting commandant. He's acting commandant, right. Ghostman, was at Horno and Las Flores from 93 to 02. Horno and Flores. I've obviously been to both of those, hiking them hills back there. Goldman, do you ever stay in touch with Duval? No, the drill instructor, I'm still in touch with Daryl Bryant. He lives in Cali. Sergeant Bryant was a beast of a drill instructor. We went to DI school together and went to the same company, and he absolutely was a beast. He was loud, intense. I saw him yelling in his sleep, standing up one time, probably at Goldman. Duval always made me laugh like hell, then I would pay for it. Worth every time. He was pretty funny. MDH says, ever met a crazy RP? We had one that went all the way through Black Belt and McMap with us. So RPs, those of you who don't know, are a religious person. The Marine Corps doesn't have religious people. We don't have a chaplain or the RPs, so they get assigned to us. They're 100% Navy. They can get FMF patches. They can go Marine Corps regs, and I don't know if I've had any crazy ones, but I've had a lot of good ones. Grenos is yelling at me about making a bed. He's screaming at the report. Yep. Corpsmen were all good. Doc Baez was forced recon before he went over to the blue side. He died saving one of his Marines in Iraq. This is Semper Fi, Doc, and hope you rest in power, brother. So a lot of things people don't know about docs either, Navy corpsmen. They're in every unit. So they're in recon units. They're in state platoons. They're in the infantry and engineers. They do exactly what those men and women on the ground do. So I'm telling you, corpsmen are amazing. Religious program specialist. Thank you, Nelson. RP. Yeah, Byers was good stuff. Ghostman, true story. First duty station, lived in Vista. Came home on a Friday, walked in my door, and I hear, hey, recruit, my damn heavy was my neighbor. Yeah, that's terrible. but good, because now you're both Marines, so I'm sure you had some good laughs, some good stories. Similar, I moved in as a first sergeant. I moved in on the E9 row in Camp Pendleton. I was the only first sergeant there. About 6 or 7 doors down was my senior drill instructor. Same thing. Hey, Nasty, what are you doing here? What are you doing on my street? Again, now we're both Marines. He was actually at my Sergeant Major promotion ceremony, so that was kind of cool. My senior drill instructor. All right, we ready for the trivia? All right, here we go. Get ready. First one to answer. Here it is, your very own. Select. Sfmf olive drab t-shirt. Trivia. All right, those who've been on the channel, you've been paying attention. A lot of comments, a lot of support. Appreciate all of it. Here's the trivia. Who knows, get ready to type, the name of my dog? Hurry up. You've seen him on film. Does some stuff with him. He's crazy. Bit my neighbor. Was the most WF moment from a strategic Lance Corporal. How do VA loans work? Okay, those are good questions. Cleo says Coco. Nope. Ghostman says Gunny. Nope. Chicken Man says, I'm guessing Chesty. Nope. It's getting there. Come on. Who's got it? I featured him twice. Margaret A. Brewer. No. Goldman says Daily. No. Ghostman also says Smudge. Good one, but that's not it. Smudge is a good name. Also a nickname you don't hear anymore, Smudge for the Sergeant Major. Same with top. That phrase is not used anymore. That went to the top enlisted Marine in the unit, the top sergeant, which was the first sergeant or the master sergeant, sergeant major. They used to be called top. That's not it anymore. Alan Garrison says Sarge. Nope. Ghostman says Warrior. Mark asked, do Marines still have sea duty school? Well, that's a good question, Mark. Sea duty? They go on sea duty. They have a lot of years on ship, but I don't know about sea duty school. I'm going to look into that. We'll do a post on that, a short. Ghostman says guns? Nope. Crayons, I like it. Barada's Real Dad Deal says crayons. That's not it. I'll tell you, I'll give you a hint. He is named after a Marine. Marine detachments is what Mark is saying. Oh, look at this. Who's this guy? Brian Olea says Mattis, as in General Mattis. But in parentheses, he says, but is he yours? Good one. So Mattis is the dog that we featured. That is his name. But he is my daughter's dog who lives with us now, and she may be on and off on duty. So yes, I've been taking care of him, not as much as her. So Mattis is the winner. That's the name of our dog, as in General Mattis or Mad Dog Mattis. My wife likes to call him Bad Dog Mattis. So congratulations to Brian Olea. Marut, that's not it, Cleo. Butler, good one, Goldman. MDH, we'll see you, brother. Got to hop off. This is absolutely amazing. Later, Marines, thank you, brother. Semper Fi, my friend. And we'll be on the lookout. You'll see when the next one is. Chicken Dinner says, they still did when I was in, Mark. Oh, so the sea duty. Semper Fi, MDH. Mark says, how do Marines get chosen for 8th and I? Depends on where you want to work in 8th and I, but if you're talking about the drill team, the drill platoon, that's straight out of SOI. Those Marines, those infantry Marines get selected right out of SOI and go to 8th and I. So obviously the best of the best, you know they're going to be drilling and handling rifles, so there's a team, I'm not sure specifically how they get selected, but I'm sure they're vetted very, very carefully in SOI. Cleo, do-over. Cleo wants a do-over. Another question? All right. We'll think of another question. And we'll end it at that, because that was a quick hour. Ladies and gentlemen, Marines, that was a quick hour. That was our time limit for this. So we are definitely going to do this again. This was fun. Yankee White in boot camp. Alan Garrison says, I'm still in. Come on, Alan. Once a Marine, always a Marine. But no, I'm not on active duty anymore. Ever. All right. Last question for your one-of-a-kind Sfmf olive drab t-shirt. Some history. You know I'm going to ask some kind of Marine Corps history. The first one, 13th General Order. If I use that one, and it's the 12th General Order. How about the 12th General Order, Ghostman? We'll go with the 12th General Order. I'm waiting. Let's have it. Chicken has arisen. Good to see you, Sergeant Major. Everyone, hoorah on Semper Fi. Semper Fi, Chicken. Good to see you on here. Thanks for your support. Let's hear it. 12th General Order. Who knows what it is? You know it? Ghostman, go for it. First of all, you better know all 11. And then the 12th one, we definitely, my daughter knew it before she went to boot camp. She never had to tell anybody. All right. How about, no one knows their 12th General Order. Okay. I'm going to have to get on that. All right, another history question. Chicken tiebreaker. All right, we'll go with who can name. We're going with history or Marine Corps knowledge. Chicken says just give it to Cleo. What do you think, Cleo? All right, who can tell me my favorite flavor of crayons? Cleo, you know that. Is she up? And they want some rain. Got you, Alan. Brian says give it to Cleo. Chicken, are you still? Are you in still? Red? No. Cleo, you got it. And Alan, you both got it. Green is my favorite. We might have to give two out. Alan Garrison got one, and Cleo got one. Again, once in a lifetime Sfmf t-shirt. Thank you all very much. Again, from the bottom of my heart, from myself, my production team, this really is a community that we're trying to start and maintain. Again, Alan and Cleo, same thing. DM me so we can get your email address, so we can get your home address. Be more than happy to send you a t-shirt. This is really what it's all about. I know it was a lot of work again for my production team, but this was absolutely amazing. We're going to continue to try to do as many shorts, as many videos, try to answer a lot of the questions that have come up, and that's what it's all about. This community staying together, like-minded people. Doesn't matter what branch of service you're in, or if you served at all. You patriots that are out there supporting us, and we really, really love everything about it. Good to see you all. We'll definitely do this again. Please stay tuned. It is on the top of the hour. Thank you all. Make sure y'all do buddy checks. Ghostman, you nailed it right there. That's what it's all about as well. Do buddy checks. Check on people. Not just a text, send or a call. There's an app on your phone that is actually a phone. Use that baby. Call your buddies. Check on them. Good evening, all y'all. Thank you. Appreciate it. And I really don't want to sign off, but we got to. I know we all have our lives to get back to. Stay tuned. We're going to do more and more, bigger and better things. And remember, at the end of the day, get 1% better every day. Semper Fi, my friends. Hurrah!